It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, round 1 of 10 for 2020. It's the Superbikes at Road America number 1. Coming at you from Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, on a beautiful day in Wisconsin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the booth. I'm Greg Weitz, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, two-time national champion at this level, as we are setting the stage for our first race, Supersport, Jason. And it is, well, it promises to be a very exciting year, doesn't it?
It's going to be a great year. It seems like it was last year we were at Barber for the test, even though it was only 3 months ago. But it's good to see everybody back on track. It's good to see everybody in the paddock so happy to be here. Supersport's going to be exciting.
And if you look at the field of riders, there's only one rider in the field that's won Supersport races before, and that's M4 X-Star Suzuki's Sean Dillon Kelly.
Definitely a bright spot in our series last year. We couldn't believe how good Sean Dillon Kelly was. And the 2 races that he won at Pittsburgh, he did it so defiantly, racing against Bobby Fong very hard, his teammate in the second race. Kid's got a very, very bright future. He's coming back from an early season injury that he's fully healed back on now. And I think the spotlight's been on him, and that's where the target's going to be.
And after, of course, this race season, we're going to crown a national champion. But, Jason, as you're fully aware of, in this field, there are national champions, but not in the Supersport class. This year will define a very first national champion in the Supersport class.
Somebody gritting up today will be our 600 champion at the end of the year that has never got to experience that before. So there's going to be a little bit added pressure. And as you say, only one guy's won races in this class, and that's Sean Dillon Kelly. So it's going to be interesting to see who brings the fight to him.
Such a deep, talented field here for Supersport. A new look for Richie Escalante after 9 years on a Yamaha R6. He'll race a Kawasaki ZX6R, and he's loving it.
Today's race coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
A perfect race day here at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, for round number 1 of the 2020 series. Yeah, we are live, we're here, and it's a beautiful day. Let's get right down to the third member of our broadcast team, our roving pit reporter, Hannah Lopa.
Bikes are headed out on track, and I just wanted to take a second to talk about today's starting grid. We'll start with our pole setter, Richie Escalante. Now, Richie has 8 career podiums in the Supersport class, but he is still chasing that elusive win. Racing for Honos this season, he's riding a Graves Kawasaki, and when I spoke to him, he said he loves the bike, and he is feeling super fit from all the extra time during quarantine to just work out, so we could potentially see his very first win here this weekend. Moving on down the line to the second position starter, we've got Sean Dillon Kelly. Now, Greg, Jason, as you mentioned, he's the only rider in this class to have ever won a race. He's also the only rider in the class today to have podiumed here at Road America, finishing 3rd and 2nd last season. Heading into his 2nd season with the M4 X-Star Suzuki team, he's familiar with them. They have a great relationship, so he's starting from a really great place. And our third starter on the front row is Brandon Posh, who just announced that he's committing to the full season with Celtic HSBK Racing. He was a KTM Cup championship winner, and he's going to be in the mix for sure. Let's head over to Jason with our Yamaha track map.
Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, this place, Greg, one of our favorite, isn't it? Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. You go down this big, long front straightaway. Turn 1's very tricky. You can't see the apex as you tip in up over the top of a hill. We're going to head down to turn 5, probably one of the most iconic places that we go to on the schedule. A lot of passing down there on the opening lap. All the way through to Canada Corner, turn 12, onto this big front straightaway again out of 14. A lot of drafting.
All right, anticipation rises as the Supersport race start gets closer and closer. Back to Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Let's take a look at our starting grid for Supersport. Richie Escalante on pole, Sean Dillon Kelly, Brandon Posh. Now, Jason, as we scroll through this, let's talk about something different right now, quick start procedure.
Yeah, the quick start procedure is in effect here at MotoAmerica, again, because we're trying not to have too many people congregate together on the grid. So after our sighting lap, there was one person on the grid to show these guys where they're going to be starting, and then from that point, we went straight into the warm-up lap, which these guys are completing now. So it's very, very quick. It's a lot different than what it would normally be, where we have the pageantry of a 20-minute, we do a sighting lap, and then we're out there for 20 minutes, and then a warm-up lap. It all went by pretty quick. We're ready to go green, Greg.
So riders have already taken their grid positions, and we are moments away from the start. You're going to see red lights in the upper left-hand part of your screen. When they go on, those reds are up. Then it's going to go off, and we're ready to go. Race 1 of the year. Here we go. Wow. And it looks like a good launch from our pole sitter. And Sean Dillon Kelly in the middle of the wheel in the air.
Yeah, you know, and it looked like the starter held them a little bit longer that time. A lot of guys were trying to anticipate that start, but they had to wait for that green light to go out. Escalante is going to lead them ahead of Sean Dillon Kelly. And then Brandon Posh slots himself into third. So it looks like Kevin Almeida is up on the Altus Motorsports bike there in 4th place, and Aguilar rounds out the top 5 early.
Richie Escalante, 25 years old, out of Mexico, leads the way. His first go at a Kawasaki ZX6R on the Honos team, and he's leading the off-season favorite Sean Dillon Kelly in the draft. They're coming down towards turn number 5. Sean Dillon Kelly, M4 X-Star Suzuki, out of the draft. Is he going to have it up the inside into turn 5? No.
Escalante is very, very hard on the brakes. I've been watching him all weekend, Greg. He's very, very late, very strong on the brakes, and just good to see all these guys make it through that first lap into turn 5, up over the top into this blind turn 6. They're going down to turn 8. This is a fast right-hander, a little bit bumpy according to some of the riders, but still one of the best places on the track. Down to turn 8, Brandon Posh taking a stab at Sean Dillon Kelly as they go into turn 8.
Brandon Posh will stay in 3rd place for the moment, the number 57 on the Celtic HSBK Racing Yamaha R6. So we have a Kawasaki leading from a Suzuki from a Yamaha.
Yeah, but I love seeing Kevin Almeida do good. We knew this kid was going to be great coming up from our Junior Cup, and he's I've seen him a lot out at Chuckwalla during the off season, working closely with his team. And he's yesterday, first session, a little slow start, picked it back, kept picking it, chipping away. Right now running 4th, right up behind Brandon Posh, somebody he did get a chance to do some riding against over the winter.
Kevin Almeida, number 16, just going through your screen there in 4th place from El Salvador on the Altus Motorsports Suzuki GSX-R 600. These motorcycles, if you're new to MotoAmerica Supersport, right off the showroom floor, a couple of modifications, put a good rider on it, and you're on the racetrack racing.
That's exactly right. So what we're going to be able to see when they come up this front straightaway for the first lap, they're down into turn 14 now. These two guys, if they work together, they might start to just get away from Brandon Posh a little bit. We'll have to check it out here. If Sean Dillon Kelly can get in Escalante's draft, it could prove to where they could just start to open up that gap. Brandon's doing everything he can right now, squeezing as much as he can out of that Yamaha R6 to try to run with these guys. 3 different manufacturers running 1, 2, 3, Greg.
Brandon Posh, the number 21, the reigning British Super Bike Moto 3 national champion. Trying to make his name known back here in the United States after a season abroad. As Hannah mentioned, announced that he's going to be here all season long. This young talent, we're looking forward to having him here in MotoAmerica for the Supersport duration.
And really, this is because of the situation we've been in with the pandemic. I mean, there were things that Brandon, I think, was going to do other than this series, and this is all kind of cropped up because of the situation we've been in over the last few months. Now we're going to get to see Brandon Posh all year riding that Celtic Racing Yamaha R6 alongside PJ Jacobson in that team, and they have a Junior Cup rider, Sam Lockoff, as well. So we've got 3 riders under the same truck there, and now we're going to get to see Brandon all season long. These 2 guys at the front, though, Greg, doing what we were fearing just a little bit, starting to eke away.
First lap from a standing start was a 2:24.4, a 2:19.1. Your time, pole position, 2 minutes and 19 seconds to get around this was pole time by Richie Escalante. Through the carousel they go, a spectacular corner.
Oh man, that's so good. It goes on forever, and this is really where you think about trying to get your bike set up for. Obviously, you want a fast motorcycle here at MotoAmerica, but when you're on the edge of the tire for as long as you are through that big, long downhill carousel, you want something that's going to be very rideable, very trackable, easy on the exits, that you can get off that corner strong. And really, that's where I used to always think to myself, this is where I want the bike to be its best in a lap. And of course, braking stability is also another big key ingredient here at Road America.
Richie Escalante trying to hold on to the lead, but Sean Dillon Kelly, he had a notion up the inside. You won't get there, but the 54 still leads the way. And for Richie Escalante, he missed the 2017 season. He wasn't here, but obviously back in 18 and 19, Escalante talking about wanting to finish high up in this championship this year, possibly grab that national title, Jason, and advance up into the stock 1000 or possibly superbike class. And for Escalante, very thin, very fit, but also a very tall rider.
Yes, absolutely. And when you think about him and what he's been riding the last few years, we've seen, or last couple years especially, we've seen Richie on that Yamaha R6. So this is going to be a change for him. He's super lucky. He's got Derek Keyes in his corner, who helped Andrew Lee to 2 Superstock 1001 championships over the last 2 years. And he's got him working on this thing. They've been chipping away the last couple of days, getting this bike even better. I can't tell you the last time I saw Kawasaki on pole position in a 600 Supersport race. It's been a while since that has happened. So good job on them. And you can see right now, Sean Dillon Kelly, even though he's able to stay in that draft right now, the Kawasaki looks pretty good down the straights, and we know how good Escalante is on the brakes.
Sean Dillon Kelly, it looks like he's trying to rehearse a pass down into turn number 5. A pass in turn 5 is not as easy as it looks on TV, is it, Jason?
No, it's not. And you know, the thing is you got to commit very soon and very early to that pass. But Sean Dillon Kelly has got such a great head on his shoulders, as we know. This was the attempt earlier going down into Canada corner. He's just having a little look, Greg, just kind of like you say, sizing things up a little bit, seeing where he might be stronger or not stronger. And, you know, that's what he was just doing, a little dress rehearsal there.
So lap times after the first flyer is 2:20.2. We mentioned qualifying time was 2:19.1 for the rider out front, 2:19.5 for Sean Dillon Kelly as they go through the carousel. And Escalante trying to put his head down. We have the benefit of having timing and scoring screens here that have the different sectors. This track broken up into multiple sectors, and we have the ability to see what's going on. And it's like sector to sector. Richie Escalante is setting outright fastest time, and then Sean Dillon Kelly will do the same. And you're seeing the effect right now, that gap just a couple tenths of a second.
And you can see Brandon back there. He's got his 2 fastest splits early in this lap, and it's just so frustrating when you see guys just eking away from you, and that's really the benefit of the draft at this track. But yeah, these guys will swap back and forth as far as fast sectors, Greg, because when you got that carrot in front of you, it helps you. And then if you're Sean Dillon Kelly, in some of the places that you're able to draft back up, you're going to see fast sectors from him there.
For Richie Escalante, the number 54 machine on that Kawasaki ZX6R on the Honos team. Jason, when he signed the deal to be on this team for 2020, they've only had 60 laps total testing on this motorcycle. How incredible is it the speeds they're able to maintain as he comes across with the fastest lap of the race, the first one into the 2:19s and 19.9.
Well, you got to take into consideration that there is a partnership now between Kawasaki and Graves Motorsports, who has been synonymous with Yamaha over the years. So a few years or a couple years ago now, Kawasaki and Graves have got together. So Chuck has really gone to work on this bike with all of his staff to try to get this bike even more competitive. I know he's incredibly happy with the baseline product that it was delivered to him. So they've, like you say, Greg, they've been working on developing this machine and trying to get it better so that we can see what we're seeing right now out of Richie Escalante, bringing this bike to the MotoAmerica paddock and being competitive at 600 Supersport.
To turn 5 goes our leader, number 54, Richie Escalante. Chasing him is number 40, Sean Dillon Kelly, and trying to close the gap, 21, Brandon Posh. Kevin Olmedo in 4th place, Jason Aguilar in 5th, Xavier Zayat up to 6th, Benjamin Smith down to 7th, Nate Minster, Carl Solitz, and Lucas Silva rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, right now it's like you can just see Brandon back there. In certain frames from our cameras, we can see that he's really trying hard to just get back onto the back end of these guys. All it will take, Greg, is for those two guys to just get a little bit involved with each other a little bit more. But Escalante right now looks really strong all through the, I guess what you could call the infield section of this place. It's hard to imagine really an infield as open as Road America is, but coming down here into this chicane, he's actually just created a little bit of a gap.
Taking a look at Escalante and the body language, you can see there pushing really hard, using a ton of racetrack out onto the rumple strips as he accelerates. When I spoke with Richie about this Kawasaki ZX6R yesterday afternoon, he said the thing that is the greatest about it is its ability to accelerate. Now, oftentimes we see Richie throw the motorcycle sideways like that. It's kind of a part of the way he rides, but
that kind of slowed him down there a little bit.
It certainly did. You can see the gap being closed, but the one thing that Richie wants to focus on, of course, is occasionally some chatter comes up with the Kawasaki ZX6R. Chatter meaning what, Jay?
Well, just, when he gets the thing thrown into the corner and it gets it on the edge, Kawasaki's kind of been synonymous with that little bit of chatter from the front end, and as a rider, front end feel is really everything. And when you start to feel something not quite right there with that front end, it definitely can make you a little bit uncomfortable. You saw him there, Greg. Looked like he was going for the front brake lever adjuster going down into turn 1, because brakes do get warm here at Road America with as much hard braking as we have. So it looked like he was just coming up over the start-finish line there, didn't it, where he was just making that adjustment.
Yeah, certainly needed more lever. Now with that mistake we saw a couple corners ago, Sean Dillon Kelly right back on the tail section of Richie Escalante. Brandon Posh still 1.9 seconds behind when they cross the stripe. So now SDK on a very fast M4 X-Star Suzuki GSX-R 600 pulls out of the draft. Will they go side by side? Escalante has it for the moment. SDK trying to park it at the apex. He doesn't get it done.
Yeah, Escalante had a spot there on the track where he could just release the lever. He had it opened up a little bit more and was able to just hold him off as they went into turn 5. I just think with Richie sometimes if he could, this track, especially at this place, it's so easy to rush these corners and it's so easy to make a mistake. He had a little bit of a gap and made that tiny error down in Canada Corner, and that is really what allowed Sean Dillon Kelly to get close enough again to start to draft. You could see all through here, Greg, Escalante has a little bit of the measure of him going through here. The other thing that's different about Road America than anywhere else, you got to wait 2 minutes and 20 seconds till you see your pit board. So you could come across the line with a 0.5 or a 0.8, and it really doesn't mean a lot. If you're at a shorter track, it means a little bit more, but when you have to wait 2 minutes and 20 seconds to see if you're lap or see if you've pulled away at all, it's just different than other spots.
These two riders are pushing themselves as we look at those split times. Escalante had set personal best split in Sector 1. Sean Dillon Kelly, the best of the race so far, but then the last 2 sectors, it's Escalante who's doing it. So we expect to see a lap time. Oh, with a big mistake, though.
It's another one in Canada Corner. He just keeps on trying to go in there harder than he needs to go in there. He just needs to get the bike slowed down, get it turned, because once you're at the apex of Canada Corner, it's right back uphill. If you lose all of your rolling momentum going in too hard by pulling on the lever and making mistakes to where the bike doesn't get settled, you're not going to be able to get as good of a drive, and it's imperative there because it is so steep on the exit of that turn.
And Hannah talked about it, Jason. Richie Escalante does not have a win in MotoAmerica Supersport. That could be weighing on his mind, where this, for Sean Dillon Kelly, a lot of podiums and old hat on race wins. So he's biding his time. Looks like Sean Dillon Kelly's doing the smart thing, and he's letting Richie Escalante make the mistakes.
Yeah, because, see, the thing is Escalante doesn't know 3/4 through the lap that he's actually got a gap. And then when he makes that mistake, he's going to continue to see +0, so it's going to make him push. But literally in sectors 2 and 3 that last time were the quickest sectors that he could have gone, but he made a mistake down in Canada Corner again. So you see, it's allowed Sean Dillon Kelly, as they run off out into the grass, drafting through the grass. It's going to allow Sean Dillon Kelly to get a little bit closer. If I'm Sean Dillon Kelly, I want to get by him before turn 5, because this looks like from here to Canada Corner, Escalante is gapping him a little.
Number 40, Sean Dillon Kelly, who we often refer to as SDK. He likes that. M4 X-Star Suzuki. His second year on the program was quite a sensation when he showed up here last year and started pushing to the front. And Jason, you and I were both impressed. By the way, last time by the stripe, Richie Escalante set the fastest lap of the race at a 2:19.7. Sean Dillon Kelly able to go 2:19.8. So we have 2 riders now in the 2:19 bracket as the laps wear down.
And in fairness, it should have been more like a 2:19.4.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a half a second that he'd have on him, and then he would be able to break that draft and continue to pull away. Now, we're coming back into that section. You can see that gap is a little big again. Not as big as we've seen it, but now they're going to roll out of this chicane, and they're going to head down to Canada Corner once again.
Will Escalante make it cleanly through? Can he tidy things up, or has he got to make another mistake and really close the gap? Allow SDK to close that gap. So here we go towards Canada Corner, hard on the binders. One of the hardest braking spots on the track. You can see when the cars are here, how they make it. So, you can see.
That's better, though.
Yeah, it's much better, but definitely the front end of that motorcycle was bouncing around on some of those bumps heading into that corner.
He slowed his entry speed down a little to where he could actually get to an apex and utilize the exit a lot more, and you can see that gap is the same now. Sean Dillon Kelly's not close. Oh, Sean Dillon Kelly's big crash.
Sean Dillon Kelly with a huge mistake, a high side tumble.
That's going to be losing the rear going in, Greg. You do one back shift going in there, and you could see the thing getting out of shape as he was starting to tip in already. And at that point, it looked like it was going to high side him off the inside, but it caught, and he went off the big end of that. So that's a big accident from Sean Dillon Kelly. But the thing was, Greg, it puts pressure on you when you know that you're not in the guy's draft anymore. And Escalante had done the work to just pull that gap.
Let's take a look at the replay.
Look
left
in the
part
back.
of your screen.
There's a downshift coming right there. You can see his clutch, and you can see maybe he had caught a false neutral or something. At that point, he did get high-sided off the inside. So that was, if you're going to do it, that's going to be a little bit better. But all these tumbles, you can see him bringing his arms and stuff into his chest to try to make it to where he doesn't hurt himself. And let's just hope that Sean gets up from that one. That's a big one.
So STK down out of second place in this one. That's going to relegate Brandon Posh into second place, Kevin Olmedo into third at the moment. And Jay, it happened in a place where we're not sure if Richie Escalante's aware, because could you get that out on your pit board quick enough?
They're not going to get that out there quick enough. So next time he comes by, he's going to see +2 or so, and STK is going to get up. The big concern here will be concussions, or we're going to have to look and see. I worry when I see a rider not just jumping right up, but it looks like he's going to try to get up, which is good. We know he broke his leg earlier in the year, so that was always the main concern right off the bat. But, Greg, Escalante has heard that bike up behind him a lot. So,
well, that's actually what I was going to ask you, Jason,
you
because
can hear
when you raced, you didn't wear earplugs. The majority of the rest of the racers in here wear earplugs, but have you ever, was it a strategy of yours so you could hear people behind you with no earplugs?
There's no strategy. I didn't like the way it felt having earplugs in my ears. I just couldn't hear everything I wanted to hear. But he's gonna have heard Sean Dillon Kelly in some of the other corners. He's not going to hear that he had fell. But right now, he's definitely wanting, as you see Sean Dillon Kelly, great thing there that he's up and walking. This guy's going to come around now and see, plus, what is it, Greg, almost 3 on Brandon Posh that last lap by. That's going to be a big relief for him.
Not surprised if he turns around and takes a look behind him, because
he's going to see it right now too.
You know what I mean?
He's going to see the corner worker falling over.
Yeah, that is a good point. He's going to see that bike. Yep. He's going to come up the hill and he's going to see that plus on his board. So Richie Escalante will come across the stripe up and over the hill, and that's going to take us with 4 laps to go and a 2:19.5.
Yeah,
so you can see that Escalante was still.
Yeah,
2:19.7.
Yeah, 2:10. No big deal. I mean,
19.5 was his best lap, but still.
He's living in the 19s, and that just puts a lot of pressure on if you don't feel like you can do that. Still, look, it's racing and stuff like that happens. Sean Dillon Kelly didn't do anything wrong. He was just charging and pushing. So it'll be interesting to talk to him later, see if he maybe had caught a false neutral, and that's what happened. We're seeing a black flag out right now for somebody, Greg. So we're have to see who that's for.
That's a meatball flag. So the left hand of the flagger is a number indicating to one of the riders on course that they are being meatballed for some reason. They have to come into the pits, and tech inspection will take a look at that motorcycle.
Just looking to see if I can see who might be coming through that might be for.
Let's get down to Hannah.
The meatball flag is for number 96, Jason Aguilar. I can see them out on the bridge over the track with a big number 96 sign in their hand and that big black flag waving. So something must be going on with Jason.
That's a bummer. Thanks, Hannah. Jason Aguilar right now circulating in 4th place. Aguilar, there he is. You can see smoke coming out of his machine.
That's going to be, and he's battling for 3rd, or he was, because he came across the line only half a second behind Kevin Olmedo this last lap. Yeah, you can see. Yeah,
so Jason has to roll out of it. He's going to make his way back to the pits. They're going to take a look at that one. That is that's a real heartbreaker for Jason Aguilar.
I can see a little something there, and
yeah,
he's probably wondering what it's about, because it's not just pouring out. And if you can look down sometimes and you'll look at your boots and you'll see if there's no oil on your boots, you kind of think, what's going on? And when you look back and you don't see a bunch of smoke, that definitely bums you out a little bit.
Yep, so just like Hannah said earlier, the number 96 meatball flag. So looks like Aguilar's race could be done. He's got to do a ride through, so more than likely he's going to get relegated to the back either way if he's even able to continue. So Richie Escalante continues his romp of the field right now. Number 54, out of Mexico, Richie Escalante. Just a lot of fun to talk to this young rider, Jason. You talk about that broken tib, fib, and knee, and it's really
he had done that a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, but it changed his riding style a little bit some years ago when he did that, and now he says he uses a lot more arm when he's riding the motorcycle. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, he just has to use his arms a little bit more because maybe he doesn't have the function of his leg the way he had it prior. So, that's just something that he's had to adapt to. Greg, he's just living in the 19s, though. He just went 19.6 right now. So
unbelievable.
Maybe he's just found a zone that he's just comfortable in. And some riders, when they slow down, they start making a lot of mistakes. But his lead now is up to 6 seconds. So he's either not seen the board and continuing to push on, or he's just found a rhythm on that bike right now that he's happy with.
Jason, in speaking with Richie Escalante, I mentioned at the top of the show that Richie has been on a Yamaha R6 for basically 9 years of his career. And when faced with the prospect of going to a different motorcycle, because we know the Yamaha R6 is a proven race winner here in Supersport in MotoAmerica, I was asking him, why did you take the risk? Couple things. Number one, he said Valentin DeBees, who of course was a race winner here in MotoAmerica for years with the M4 X-Star Suzuki team, has been a big help with Graves Motorsports in developing this motorcycle, and he knew the lap times that were being done by DeBees. But the other thing, Jason, is that he said he was ready for a new challenge. He's 25 years old. He needed some different motivation, something that he wanted to get up every day and train because, as he said to me, training is my job. And so racing is the fun part of it. And so he needed that extra motivation. Have you been in that situation in your career?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes a change is really all you need. If you get a change and it kind of gets you around some new people, some new motivations and things like that, it can definitely get you fired up. And I think that he had kind of been doing the same thing, been riding the same bike. We've seen him close to podium. We've seen him on podiums. We've seen him close to victories, but he's never really been able to break through. Today, he's earning this one because he was leading it all the way from the start pretty much, and he's just continuing to show that he's got the pace over the field. It's going to be a great day for him here if he can just hold on for, another 2 laps pretty much, Greg.
So Escalante's got a 6-second lead over the 21 of Brandon Posh and the 16 of Kevin Olmedo. Jason, Kevin Olmedo, looking back, I mean, is coming from Junior Cup into Supersport.
It's great to see. It's amazing. I think he's, last year when we watched him in Junior Cup racing against Rocco and things, and we said, and there's a great look at him right here. He's done such a neat job, and I've gotten to know him pretty well out at Chuckwalla a little bit. Nicest guy you'll ever meet, but fierce when he puts the helmet on, which is what you want out of a young man. And he's got this Suzuki right now for Altus Motorsports running in 3rd place on his kind of his premier race.
Let's talk about Kevin Olmedo for a second, Jason, because when I was able to talk to him, he came here for the barber test back in March, and then because of the pandemic, decided not to go home. He needed to stay in the States because he was concerned about getting back in the States. He didn't want to go to El Salvador. They had closed down the airports there.
Yeah, he was stuck in Texas, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been in Dallas, Texas with his uncle, but he hasn't been able to train. So when I spoke with Kevin this morning, I said, how are things? And he said, my confidence is really low. And I said, I'm sorry, what did you say? And he said, my confidence is low because he has not been able to train. He has all the training aids at home. So for us to come to Road America, I think it's kind of a shot in the arm. This is not the most physically demanding racetrack.
Nope, I agree. It's tough on braking, and that's about it. I think that when you transition to a bigger, faster superbike or 1,000 super stock bike, it definitely does wear your upper body out a little bit more because of the amount of braking and hard braking you do. But this guy's got a lot of talent, and there's been some things that I know that he has continued to work on to better himself as a rider, and he's doing a great job today. And this is going to be good for that team.
Yeah, and one thing Kevin Olmedo does not lack, a smile on his face.
Always smiling.
All the time.
Yeah.
Altus Motorsports, their GSXR 600 technical partner with Team Hammer, who of course runs M4 X-Star Suzuki. So in terms of equipment, same as Sean Dillon Kelly. Here's a look at Brandon Posh, who is out of New Jersey, but on the entry form says he's out of Brooklyn, New York on that Celtic HSBK Racing Yamaha R6. We have seen him tease us over the offseason in a couple of different tests that he had with the team, and it's good to see Posh back in action here in the United States. And Jason, for him and the team to come on out swinging 220.0, so almost in the 19s.
Yeah, he's right there, and they're going to learn from this. I know some of the things that he was working on corner entry over the last day or so, working on some different braking, engine braking things as well. So they're going to continue to grow with him. White flag is out, so he's 9 seconds back, Greg, but I got to feel like when he saw Sean Dillon Kelly go out that, he had plus 10 or plus 12 on Olmedo. But this is the guy of the hour right now. Escalante, 220.2 the last lap round, only 7/10 off his quickest, so he's just found a nice rhythm.
Without question, Richie Escalante, knowing this is the final lap of race number 1 here at Road America number 1 in Supersport competition, has butterflies in his stomach. He's going to send her off into turn number 5, which means he's got 9 corners after this one as he goes sideways. Wow, and a big bounce on the front end, but no problem. It looks like Escalante is having some fun. Underneath the Corvette bridge he goes. We've talked about this at the top of the show. Hannah talked about it before. Sean Dillon Kelly out of this race with a big crash. So no matter what happens, we're going to have a first-time race winner in this race 1 in Supersport. And right now, it's looking pretty good for Richie Escalante. But still, half of this 4-mile, 6.5-kilometer race course to navigate.
Anything can happen, and you just want to be able to, right now there's probably a lot of little things going through his head, just trying to bring this bike home, and it's going to be a huge win for this team. It's going to be a huge win for the rider, and it's just good to see. Like I said, Greg, I can't remember the last time we saw a Kawasaki running up front, and even I'm sure back in Van Nuys, California right now, Chuck Graves has probably got a smile on his face as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been Roger Hayden, or you know what I mean.
It's been a while.
We're going to have to
Definitely
go do some research.
Yeah.
I know there's people out there right now watching, going, "I know exactly when it was."
Yeah, it's been a while.
Richie Escalante, 25 years old, out of Mexico. He's heading into Canada corner, a corner which he struggled with early on in this race, being chased by Sean Dillon Kelly. But he comes out of that without a problem through turn number 13. And Jason, he's going to send it into the final corner. When you won your first race, what were you thinking when you twist the grip, come out of the final corner?
Well, one of them was right here at Road America, and it feels like the long straight gets even longer, but he's got a big gap.
Here he comes, Richie Escalante on the Honos Kawasaki. Over the hill, he'll take the checkered flag, his first in MotoAmerica Supersport competition. Congratulations, Richie Escalante. As we await the arrival of Brandon Posh, he'll come across the line, and he'll get second place. So Posh on the Yamaha. And sometime behind him is going to be Kevin Olmedo. So here comes Kevin on the Suzuki. So Jason, as Kevin heads towards the line, we are going to have a Kawasaki, a Yamaha, and a Suzuki all on the podium for race number 1 at Road America. As close as you like it, Supersport racing. And Richie Escalante put the pressure on Sean Dillon Kelly, and that little mistake cost SDK the early season favorite. Wheel in the air for Brandon Posh, number 21, as he celebrates his second place finish. Nate Minster coming across the line in 4th. Benjamin Smith in 5th. Xavier Zayat, Carl Solitz, Lucas Silva, Jared Nassani, as we await Nolan Lampkin. That'll be your top 10. So, wow, a lot to take back. And the biggest thing, I think, Jason, is not just the race result, but the fact that not only are we racing again tomorrow, we're going to race right here at Road America again in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks' time. So the data you're gathering for this racetrack, valuable, because not a lot of testing has been going on during the pandemic.
No, and I think that the guy that you saw there, obviously Escalante has done a tremendous job. Brandon Posh going to go to work with his crew tonight. We hope that SDK is okay. Sean Dillon Kelly, let's just hope that he's going to be all right, and they're going to get that bike back together for him so he can get back out as well tomorrow. But I think for Brandon here, it's a big podium finish for him today. He got second, which was looking like he was going to get third. He ends up second place now, gets those 20 points in the bank, and now he's just got to try to make something out of this tomorrow. He's got to close about a half-second gap, Greg, probably about 0.3 consistently.
Yeah, and for people that are new to MotoAmerica, there are concussion protocols in place. So without question, I believe Sean Dillon Kelly is going to get looked at.
Yep.
Just to make sure that he doesn't suffer a concussion. So even if all the limbs and everything work, MotoAmerica has got to clear him for concussion protocol. And if he passes that protocol and he's not too sore, because he will be sore tomorrow,
yep,
then he'll be able to take to the grid again. So Kevin Olmedo, there you go, top speed 154 miles an hour. That's on a 0.6 liter engine, for those that are curious. If you're talking car engines and you're used to hearing 2-liter turbos, this and that, this is a 600cc 4-cylinder displaced street bike. And one of the top speeds we saw back in the field, 157 miles per hour by Lucas Silva.
And a lot of that could be, draft related here, because, you can get a 2-bike, 3-bike draft and you can see some big numbers as far as what it would be compared to other things. So Saw Almeida there. He looks pretty happy. I mean, I guarantee if you'd have told him he was going to finish third here this weekend after what you said about his confidence being a little bit low, he probably would have told you that that wasn't going to be the case. So, I think you're going to see Kevin pretty stoked.
Somehow I don't think, though, Kevin's going to go, oh, the way to the podium is not to train for a couple of months.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's going to do that. Probably not going to do that.
Very focused young man. Number 54, Richie Escalante, heading towards Parc Ferme. If you're just joining the broadcast, no fans here at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So Parc Ferme procedure is different. You hear applause from a few people that are there. They're allowing one mechanic in at a time, and that mechanic will get that bike into place for the rider and then exit Parc Ferme.
That is Derek Keys right there. So he's got really accustomed to going to that #1 spot, has Derek, obviously, with the last 2 years, and now he's got Richie.
Rider interviews coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Today's race coverage has been brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, as this race is done and dusted, and 11.5 seconds, the margin of victory for the work done by Richie Escalante, Jason.
Not a better way to do it. If you can win a race by that much, it's good. And he didn't really back off even after STK had his incident, so he was very comfortable doing those 19s the whole time. He'll be trouble again tomorrow. Yeah,
for sure. An entertaining race, as we know people from around the world have been watching, including World Superbike points leader Alex Lowe's checking out the broadcast here from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Sure, a rider wanting to get on the motorcycle, but great work done by the entire field. Let's get down to Hannah Lopa, who is in Parc Ferme.
Richie Escalante finally captured that elusive first win. He's on a new team this season, a new bike. Richie, you got a fantastic start. You were able to keep Sean Dillon Kelly at bay. What do you think was the biggest factor for you in your success here this weekend?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm really happy to back on MotoAmerica races. Yeah, new bike, new team, new color, so extra motivate. And to be honest, my team working really good, the bike working too. Almost great Kawasaki bike. Really happy, and yeah, my start really good, and then I take the decision to lead the race every time, very concentrate. It's a little bit difficult then, I don't know what happened with Sean. I continue to push him, working for tomorrow. For sure tomorrow is a difficult race too, and yeah, today so happy, and yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
He seems awfully calm for a guy who just got his first win in the class. Congratulations, Richie. Let's head on over to Jamie Howe, who has our second place finisher.
And that's Brandon Posh, who finished second. It's his first podium finish in the Supersport category. When he took his helmet off, Brandon, the first thing you said was, it's been a minute. Your team said a big improvement. Where did it come from?
Yeah, we've been working all weekend. It's been a whole new program for me with the Celtic HSBK racing team. New crew, new bike. First year back in America in 3 years, so it's a bit different, and it's nice to be home and put it on the box my first race back.
Congratulations. We'll go to Hannah.
I've got our third place finisher, Kevin Olmedo. Your very first Supersport race and your very first podium in the class. How were you able to keep Jason Aguilar at bay?
Well, I tried in the start of the race, keeping with the first group. I was in the back with Brandon, but I say that he goes more faster, so I have to keep calm, finish the race, and 2 more laps. I knew that Jason was in the back, but I stayed calm, and after that I saw the black flag with his number, so I say, well, I have to keep calm and finish the race.
Is there anything you're looking to improve upon or do differently for tomorrow's race?
Well, I have to change some setting in the suspension maybe, but I feel better with the bike. Each session it was good, better for me, and for tomorrow I hope to be racing with the first group. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Well, Jason, for Kevin Olmedo, I mean, quite a turn of events from where I was talking with him this morning. As you take a look at our points, of course, first race of the season, and this is how MotoAmerica does points. 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third, and on down through the field. So with one race obviously in the books of the amount of races we have scheduled for the year, which is going to be 18, I believe. You know, Richie Escalante, all of a sudden, Jason, he shows up to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin after a big break, and next thing you know, Richie Escalante is your points leader as he puts his head on the pillow tonight.
And I think that the guy that he was thinking was going to be closest to him didn't get any points that race, did he, Greg? So, you know, when you start to look at what Richie did today, getting his first win, that's going to give him a lot of confidence, gives all these young riders a lot of confidence, and he's going to be probably going back. These guys don't sit on their hands. He's going to be trying to make some changes to try to make the bike even better tomorrow, and hopefully we see Sean Dillon Kelly back.
I think the biggest thing for Sean Dillon Kelly and his team, Jason, has to be the fact that they weren't able to complete the race. I mean, obviously, the pain that's going to be, you know, he's going to go through in the aspirin or whatever he's got to take tonight, but it's the lack of data to get him to tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. He didn't get to run a full race, so he didn't get to see really what his tires were like towards the end. But he's also going to go to his team and tell them the things that he did see prior to his accident of where Richie Escalante might have been a little bit better. So we'll see if there's a way that they can try to make the bike better, if he's going to be healthy enough to come back. And then he's got a month to come back again. As you look at our replay here again, you can see the bike just starts to get a little bit out of shape on him and gets sideways and pitches him up off the inside of the bike there. And, you know, the problem is that first landing, he did land on his head, but he was cognizant enough to wrap his arms up to his chest, which is good to see. And the bike can be fixed. We just got to make sure that he's going to be healthy enough to do it. He'll go through the different protocols that MotoAmerica is going to put him through, and then we'll see how he is.
The other thing about Road America, obviously, was the gravel trap there. I mean, the safety here that allowed him to tumble without that sudden stop, and that's a big deal.
That's a real big deal. I mean, the thing is at Road America, we do have runoff in those, you know, those specific spots, which is nice. And the gravel trap, though, it's kind of weird because it can jam your wrist and jam your hands. So we'll just make sure that all those bits are working for him tomorrow.
How about some highlights from the Supersport race that we just saw? Because it was definitely an exciting race at the beginning, Jay. Take us through race number 1 from Road America.
Yeah, well, here you go. It was Escalante gets off to a quick start with SDK behind him and Posh. And if you look at Almeida, he just slotted himself in there to 4th. So first time on a 600 at MotoAmerica level, jumps himself up into 4th, and it really helps you to see the pace of these guys in front of you. But as the race wore on, these two guys at the front were able to just start to gap Brandon. And this is where Brandon's going to have to put his head down with his team and really discover the feeling that he needs to get to run up there with them. I believe that he can do that tomorrow. He's not that far off, just a tick. But we saw Escalante getting chased pretty hard early. Then we started to see him pull away, but he continued to make mistakes down into this corner, Greg, down into Canada corner. You can see the bike snaps around a lot there, misses the apex by a couple of feet, which is going to just affect his drive all the way up the hill. But this was the telling point of the race. He had just started to pull enough of a gap, and it looked like SDK was trying to go in there. I wouldn't, you know, obviously there was a mistake made. We don't know what it was yet. We'll have to ask him. But it was a big accident, hoping that he's going to be okay. But then it really paved the way for Richie Escalante to kind of go ahead and pull a bigger gap on Brandon. This guy, though, Kevin Almeida, just jumps from our Junior Cup where he ended up top 3 last year. Very close to winning races before. He's won races in Junior Cup, I believe, also. But to jump in there and finish 3rd, his opening Supersport race was good. Really good.
So for Richie Escalante, 11 seconds plus the margin of victory for his first MotoAmerica Supersport race. And Jason, if things keep going the way they're going, he immediately gets a feel for this brand new Kawasaki. I mean, only 60 laps in testing, he comes here and wins the race. Is this a sign for the future? You think the field's in trouble at this point?
Well, I think that, yeah, he's definitely going to be one of the guys. You know, obviously, I think Brandon's going to step up. I think Almeida, really, by the end of the year, is going to be another guy that's going to be a frequent podium finisher and can give these guys some trouble. The thing is, as we come back to Road America, then we go to another track that's similar to this, Road Atlanta. So there's definitely some idiosyncrasies between the tracks, but they're very similar. So these are the guys right now that look like they're going to be bringing the heat.
Yeah, MotoAmerica working really hard to make sure they get their 10-race schedule in the books. And, of course, we're going to be racing all the way to mid-November. Now, Jason, let's take a look at our race schedule. Now, this is what we have going on right now. We have, of course, Road America race number 1, and then we're going to go to Road America race number 2 at the end of June. Then we're going to go to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, like you were talking about. Then in August, it's off to Pit Race in Pittsburgh International Race Complex in Wampum, PA. Then we're going to a place that we are so excited to go to August 28th through 30th, the Ridge Motorsports Park. Pumped about that. Then it's to New Jersey, And then we're going to go to Barber Motorsports Park. And yeah, your eyes do not deceive you. We are into September. Then we're going to head to Indianapolis Motor Speedway in October. And then WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And we're going to wrap things up, the Superbike class for sure, at Circuit of the Americas, MotoGP, November 13th through the 15th. If MotoGP has that round. Of course, right now, it's still on the schedule, Jason, but it's very unusual for us to be racing deep into November. I'm very excited about it.
I am too, and I think that with MotoAmerica coming out this weekend and showing that we can still hold a safe, fun event, and we've done it the right way. They've done it the right way. They've gone through all the protocols that we've needed to do to be here. I think it's given the rest of the world a little bit of hope. We want to see bikes worldwide get back on schedule from MotoGP to World Superbike and all that stuff. So it can be done, and we hope that it continues to improve.
And the other thing, Jason, don't forget, there are some teams in Supersport that are scheduled to compete in MotoAmerica this year that decided not to come here for one reason or another. So as the season rolls on, we expect the Supersport field and some of the other classes we have here to beef up with more and more riders. Well, we certainly enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining us on our first Supersport race of 2020. Happy to bring you live race coverage from MotoAmerica. For Hannah Lopa, Jamie Howe, and Jason Pridmore, I'm Craig White. We're going to do it again tomorrow, and we hope to see you then.